to part two, Spirit Talk Shows, Bedtime Stories for Grown-Ups. We are reading, yeah, that's a tag I came up with a few. I kind of like it because a lot of people are listening to our stories kind of when they're doing housework or they're going for a walk or at night. Kind of like, I don't know if it's related to COVID, but I think people's social connections have been affected, and a lot of people don't know how to go out and make friends and be out with people. I think also, I think the smartphones are partially responsible. Hey, I'm still here with Ed Condon. We're talking about whatever we're talking about. But you know how when we're kind of in the same age group-ish, and when we were we'd go to sports events and stuff, we'd stand around and wait, and we'd talk because we didn't have a phone. We had buried in the phone. We talk, say, hey, how or you, hey, you like this thing? I like that thing. Hey, we should talk. We should meet up. And then, that's how you learned how to be social with people. But I think now they go to these situations and they're buried in the phone.
Yeah.
And I think that has affected some people's ability to have interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, and I think the phone's where you're going to relive that great shot that somebody made in a time, in a period. You would talk about, hey, what did you think of that first quarter? Or how did that particular run of baskets affect you? But now you want to get it posted, or you want to see if your instinct matched whatever the person recording the game said. So we're inclined to be affirmed by some social context that we actually are reclining from. It's a funny thing.
I really have a hard time with this. It seems to be something common with people over 55. It's like they feel the need that they use their Facebook as they feel the need to make these narratives of their days.
Yeah, are you referring to people who take pictures of their food, for example?
Well, people who take pictures of their food, or people who take pictures of apples in the windowsill and say, I'm going to make pie for this event. Or they take a picture of them. They take a picture of their seat on the plane. They take a picture of where they're sitting to wait for the plane. They take a picture of the airport. It's like they're creating this narrative to convince you that they're having this interesting life.
Yeah.
And it feels like, why do you feel this need to create this narrative?
Well, it's funny because I'm a part of that and not. I don't take pictures of my seat, and I fly a lot for work, but I do take pictures of things of beauty with the hope that my desire to associate with that beauty, like in the fall. I live in an amazing neighborhood with great coverage. I want people who are in my life to share in the beauty of that. And so I kind of think by posting it, I'm being sharing, I'm being welcoming into this beauty. We just went to Yosemite and there was some just amazing shots, and I felt called to place that out in
I want to see those
consumption.
Like, I want to see the things that inspire you and the things that made you, I'm in
my egg salad sandwich, I did keep to myself.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I want to see things that inspire you. Like, the only time I really post on social media is when I travel, and I'm really just doing it. Like day one and day two. I'm not really doing it for my friends. I'm doing it for the memories thing. In a year, it's going to tell me on this day 3 years ago, and it's happened a few times.
And see, we have some friends who travel to some amazing places. And I love when they post, not necessarily selfies of themselves, but I'm good with one selfie. But I love what they post of waterfalls and of cities and of foods. That's that cultural experience. And then you get to journey with them. I think that's kind of a gift back to a social structure.
I'm rarely in the pictures I take when I travel because I see a big building, or I see a street.
And you're never shirtless, which is something you ought to consider.
Well, I don't know. Depending where the sun is, I'm pretty white. I'm pretty pale, So, well, thank you for that.
I bet you're blushing now.
Yeah, you're blushing. Am I blushing? Well, you read a story. What do you think of that story you read before break?
It was a beautiful story, and it's funny how, at some level, I think that's my dream job. I would love to wander the world and take care of people.
Okay, well, hey, what's stopping you, babe?
Paying bills and relationships and a needy dog.
Are you a dog? Are you close to retirement?
Yeah, June of 26.
Oh, wow, that's very close.
I mean, I don't know that it's going to be retirement in the classic. My father worked a job one day. he retired, he stopped working, he went on with his life. I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't know financially. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think there'll be, a retirement as in I have a set of commitments to my community that I work in. I want those commitments to change for the benefit to them as well as to the benefit of me. I want someone else to do the job I do every day. But I still feel industrious, enterprising. I still feel curious about the world. I actually think I bring value to the world in my aspirations for it. So I want to plug that in. I don't think that is going to be just travel in sort of a passive way. I think it might be travel in a more engaged way. I'd love to live somewhere. We have this fantasy about in the first 10 years of retirement, living in 5 cities for at least 90 days.
Wow.
Where we're going to live and travel from that space, but really live in the community.
I was talking to someone about this, and I think the retirement age of 65 came from a time when people passed at 70, and that's what they expected. And they expected you to go home and sit in a chair and watch TV for 5 years, and then pass away. But we live in this unique time where people are retiring. I'll be able to retire at 60, and I expect to live past my 80s, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time to go on adventure, right?
Yeah, and so and both Norman's mom and my mom died in their mid-70s, so 76 and 77, and we were very close to them, and so that's a very significant marker, that 65 to 75. We think of that time as being pretty precious.
Yeah.
My dad lived to 95. Norman's dad just passed away, I think, at 90. Yeah, so we think of it beyond, but there's a 10 to 15 year window that I won't say we have left, that sounds very tragic, but we have that we know we're likely to be healthy, we're likely to have resources, we're likely to have each other, and we just want to make the best of it. And that's not selfish, but it's more self-engaged.
Well, I think it's statistically, I don't know where I read it, I'd have to look up a source, but the happiest time of people's life is retirement till about 80. Yeah. And then also from like their kid years, right? A lot of people are very happy in their kid years, carefree kid years. But then because you have resources, you can do the adventures you've always planned on. So I think
well, we were 21 to 33 without kids. And we had some great times, just some phenomenal experiences. So
that's good. But you both had pretty good jobs too, and you both, I think.
Yeah. No, we've been very blessed with our careers, very purposeful, very community-based jobs.
So you met that man who must not be named when you were 20.
20. I chased him for 6 months.
Chased him.
Yeah, I was passionately wanting to get his attention, and he avoided me. He says it's because he had another boyfriend. I'm not sure that's true, but I went after him, and we finally, I met him in August, and finally went on our first date at the end of January.
He's a beautiful man, and I think from a distance, there's times when he seemed a little bit aloof, and I don't know if I read him right, and because when I got to know him, he's done such amazing things, and he's a beautiful guy. So maybe like you were reading what I was reading from the distance.
Yeah, he had a rough childhood as a teenager, and so I think he's not as aloof as he is protective. I think a lot of us are that way. Growing up gay, you don't necessarily have natural development. You have disrupted development, and then if you add in an alcoholic father or other traumatic experiences like many of us had, then you don't have the flow, right? So you get to 2021 and you're as much as protecting your interests as you are embracing them.
So wait, we're talking about his childhood in our life. What was your childhood like? Were you
kind of different? In fact, the complete opposite. In many respects, I had this incredible mom and dad, very faith-oriented, very loyal to each other, very loyal to their families. Mom was one of 9, dad was one of 11. A lot of cousins and aunts and uncles, very Irish Catholic. They moved from Iowa to California, but a lot of them did. So there was a hub of SIBs in California as well as in Iowa. But I grew up with this very, just loving, typical low income as I look back, or enough income. I would say we were in the category of enough income because my dad would always work 1, 2, 3 jobs. You know, he was a hustler. My mom was very enterprising. I think the chicken soup came from the chicken the night before, but as a kid, you just knew, hey, it was soup night. Right?
Yeah,
you didn't equate that with there weren't any. There
you
weren't
ate
any
chicken the
resources.
night before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've lots of siblings then.
I have had 5. I had
5.
4 plus myself. There was 5 in our family.
Okay, yeah, I had 6, but we had. So well, I remember that you'd see the same food for.
Yeah.
We'd have turkey around Christmas, and then the whole of this December was turkey related things, right? So, but they got by.
You got by. You didn't know there was enough, and what was served was eaten, and you didn't know if there was more in the refrigerator. That you just didn't have that mindset. So.
Yeah, well, we also didn't have the snacking mindset that kids have today too.
Yeah.
I mean, we would go. I mean, our parents, it's funny. They thought that we were like playing outside in front of the house, and we were like down the fields for 4 miles away, climbing over swamps and risking our lives crossing. I remember crossing this really fast, like moving river one time on this flimsy fence, and I couldn't swim.
Yeah.
And they had no idea. My parents had no idea. We were off, like, risking our lives. And I remember, I think I did get a concussion jumping off a tree onto a bale of hay, and I totally missed. And it was about 13 feet up and landing right on the hard dirt on my head. And the whole world was spinning for a while afterwards. I'm sure I got a concussion, but I just shook it off and went home and never told my parents.
Well,
so,
and it's not, I'm always reluctant to talk about times past, times present. The reality is you will raise your children with the resources that are in front of you. I didn't grow up snacking or with beverages. My children did. It wasn't because we were privileged. It was because that's just sort of the currency of the times. So my parents did their best. Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. So I want to, usually I read a story, but I like hearing you read. I think I want to go on to that story. I like to do this thing, and if you're open to it, I took your profile from the one you showed me on your website. Region 9 Head Start, right?
Yeah.
And I said, write a narrative based on this bio. So I'd like you to read your narrative about you.
Yeah. Can I add to it as we go?
Well, you can do whatever you want. Will they know?
Right. It's a mystery of radio.
I think you are the only person who said penis on my radio show yet.
So Did I say that? Only
that's
the first episode.
Yeah,
that's just getting more listeners.
That's to get more listeners. That definitely gets more listeners. Definitely more listeners than 37 and 38.
That was,
so.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the numbers
of the competition.
The
year in win.
You have 2 episodes to. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay, so
you're gonna do this. You're gonna do the story that's based on your profile. This is the one that made He Who Shall Not Be Named kind of emotional. So we'll see if it.
This story did.
I mean, when I did this for him, but not your story. Yeah, he cried about how pathetic it was. No, I'm joking.
No. That's Norman is very. Involved in his own identity.
Well, oh boy, you said his name.
Are we live?
We are recording right now.
Oh shit!
So don't say that word. Okay, here we go. Okay, wait. I'll have to edit that one out. Okay.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, yeah. Oh, should I? Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, go ahead.
Ed Condon's journey as a leader and advocate for children and families is a testament to the transformative power of education. With decades of dedication uplifting young learners, their families, and communities they call home, Ed became a beacon of inspiration for those who are striving to make a difference. As the executive director of the Region 9 Head Start Association, Ed embodies the belief that learning is a lifelong pursuit. He promotes the idea that adaptability and skill building are essential for tackling the challenges faced by organizations and communities alike. Under his leadership, R9 HSA has flourished, earning widespread respect for its commitment to elevating the Head Start community through innovative services, partnerships, and training. I am inspired by individuals committed to education, whether they are children, families, or adults working to improve themselves, Ed shares with conviction. The promise of early education is profound. It has the power to change lives. Head Start especially now, is a lifeline for at-risk children and families. It needs all of us to ensure its existence. Ed's belief in the mission of Head Start stems from a deep understanding of its history and impact. Reflecting on the program's roots in the Great Society movement, he recognizes that today's socioeconomic challenges make the program more crucial than ever before. For Ed, Head Start is not just a service. It's a symbol of hope and resilience, requiring steadfast commitment from all who support its mission. Ed's career is a rich tapestry woven with experience that have shaped his dedication to early education and leadership. Prior to R9HSA, he served as Senior Director of Professional Development with the National Head Start Association and as Executive Director of California Head Start Association. He co-founded, along with the gentleman from sessions 37 and 38, Montessori Learning Commons Incorporated, a network of early education training schools that served over 500 families in 6 locations. These roles were a natural evolution from his earlier work in marketing and business management. In fields that he honored his strategic thinking and collaborative approach. But it was his passion for education that drive to empower others to truly define his professional path. A lifelong learner himself, Ed holds a degree from California State University, Sacramento, and has pursued advanced education through Stanford's Executive Education Program, Cornell's University Extension, and numerous professional certifications. As a certified master facilitator with the Leadership Challenge, he continues to guide others in developing the skills needed to be led with purpose and impact. Beyond his professional achievements, Ed is deeply rooted in his local community, from volunteering with AFS, a high school student exchange program, supporting Family Promise Sacramento, helping low-income families achieve independence. He demonstrates his commitment to service that extends far beyond his career. He has also served on boards of several organizations dedicated to early education, child development, leaving a lasting impact on the policies and practices that shape young lives. As a husband, father of 2 young adults, beautiful young adults, an active resident in Sacramento, Ed remains dedicated to building a future where every child has the opportunity to thrive. His story is one of unwavering belief in the power of education to transform not just individuals, but entire communities. Ed Condon's work reminds us that learning is not confined to classrooms. It's a journey that touches every aspect of life. And with leaders like Ed at the helm, that journey promises to be one of growth, possibility, and profound impact. My God, we could have read the shorter one.
We read was that your story?
Yeah, it was written by, yes, my story. It's all true, but it was written by a communications person, not me.
Yeah, it was. Oh, you wrote. You didn't write it. I think.
Well, it's just funny.
It's accurate, but
yeah,
it seemed like
it's a little elevated.
The other story, the story from the person who didn't want, we must not name, was a lot more It made a narrative, but yours seemed like more of a. It's a bio. It was like a bio.
Well, it's to sell my organization that the leadership of it has credibility.
Yeah. So, well, that was the story based on your profile.
We use this to get grants.
Do you get grants? Well, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, was it accurate? Was it all?
It is accurate, and it's fun to read. It's all true. It's a bit elevated. I don't think of myself as having such profound impact, but I do believe in the profound impact of education. That's true. I see people who invest their time and energy in education, who do good in the world, and I totally connect the dots.
Well, but we're talking to Norm about this, because we're talking about him for this reason. You guys started the California Montessori project, and we calculated the number of people. I mean, you're saying it's not as elevated as, I don't think you know how elevated other people might perceive it.
Sure. And I've always been in the background of the work. So Norman's always been the foreground.
I understand.
And I know that my work to set him up, to structure, to pay the bills, build the buildings, recruit the personnel has been has been essential to put the wheels on it. He is magical around content. He is super competent in helping parents understand the developmental needs of children and why risk is important in education, why projects are important in education. He can sell that. I can create a setting for that. It's much of what I do with my own business now. So I get my impact. I just, and we've been lucky to have had careers that have great purpose.
Okay, well, but I think that, it's kind of like the movies. We see the actors, we like, people love the actors, and of course they do wonderful things, but they do wonderful jobs, but there's so many people that are so important behind, like the writers and the producers and the gaffers and stuff. And I think it's funny to me that we don't honor the people who do all this work in the background, right?
Well,
we don't see it.
As a teacher, the most powerful space in education is that triad, the teacher, the child, and the parent, or whoever's in that. That's where the real transformational work occurs. And so that teacher is the one who should be celebrated. The child's risk-taking and willingness should be celebrated. The parent's trust should be celebrated. The rest of us are setting up systems.
Yeah, but I mean... But it's kind of like, the person who's holding it up should be celebrated too. I mean, but you guys did, the Montessori project has affected countless people. I told Norm that we tried to get my son in to the one in Carmichael. And the wait list, oh my gosh, the wait list was like months. Like, I think he would have taken 3 years to get in. And he was like in third grade. So we said, well, by that time, he'll probably be established in the school he's in, right? And it was hard to get into. You guys are obviously very, very popular.
I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, it is, and it's probably going to go on to inspire people. And actually, I also had a job at Cottonwood years.
Cool.
I only stayed a few days and said, okay, this isn't for me. That was before it became the way it is today. It was when it was in the church.
Yeah, Norman's had a number of wins along his career, from Cottonwood to Riverbank to our own schools, Montessori Learning Commons, to CMP. He's a powerhouse for sure. Okay,
well. And you are too, because you are the brains behind it. No,
not the brains.
Not the brains.
I may be the more organized.
Organized.
I'm probably the methodical one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we tend to honor the people who are out in out in front, performing and entertaining. Well, I enjoy hearing you read stories, so I am going to have you read another one because we're getting pretty close to the end here.
Okay.
And I want you to read the other one based on. By the way,
this last one won't be about me, though.
No, it won't be about you. Because I thought that this would take longer to read, so that's why I had you read it, because I wanted to make sure we got it in. But the story we just reread was one on Ed Condon's bio from the Head Start.
So do people ever get to ask you questions?
Yeah, please ask me a question.
I realized today, while you're setting up here, how devoted of a father you are and how much I share that.
Yes.
I never really thought of us as having a lot in common, but your temperament toward your parenting and your kids and your joy. You were talking about your son's accomplishments. I really love that. That's something that touches me.
Well, I wanted to be the kind of parent that stood out. And my sons tell me, I mean, my one son is 17. He, he's just like, Dad. But but sometimes he still tells me, I still think you're pretty cool. Yeah. And Finn, I'm Finn's
superhero,
hero still at 13 almost. And he sees the other dads in the community, and he says, dads don't get down on the ground and play with them and play computer games and take them on adventures and talk to them like they're adults.
And you're training yourself to do something that I'm just seeing the benefits of, and that is you've remained relevant at every age, and so you're relevant at 13 as you were at 3, as you will be at 30. Yeah. When your child is 30 and struggling, you'll be relevant to them, and that's what I see. That's such a great joy now with a 26 and 30-year-old is they still come to us not because there's a hierarchical obligation. It's because we're still relevant in their lives. We cherish them. They honor us, and we do stuff together. We just were out to the movies with our daughter-in-law and son, and thoroughly enjoyed the time. And they become friends forged in a deep love, and of course.
I hope so, because they, you do think about, and my son's getting to the point in age that he's going to be 18. You think about people always say the most time you're going to spend with your kids is before they're 18, right? And then 95% of the time is, but that's what a lot of people say. But I think it's because a lot of people live these lives, especially men, live these lives almost absent from their kids.
Yeah.
And they go to work and they come home and it's mom's job to do kids. And I see it with my friends, my son's friends, that my son's friends like dads, just, you know.
But that's because they accepted that assignment. They didn't question it. And that's why I hear you taking an active role, because that's your nature. And,
Well, yeah,
and
it
you
is,
just
right.
transfer that nature into parenting.
Yeah,
you
it
didn't
definitely
take
is
your
my,
assignment.
it definitely is my nature. I think we're talking, and I love talking to you. With 2 minutes left, we might not have time to read another
Oh, no.
story. So, what would you say to young gay couples?
Yeah.
If you've done 43 years as a gay couple in Sacramento, which is like 35 million years in gay time, right? Because like gays talk about how if they're married 10 years, it's like 30 years in gay time. So you guys are married. So what's the advice? What's the trick? What's the plan? What should people do? What should people know?
Be adventurous.
Yeah.
Elevate the other.
I love that.
Stay in love. Put away your fears.
How do you make yourself stay in love? Like people think of love as something that washes over them and washes away. Is it, or is it something you have to actively keep and hold on to?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I think love is something that you give time to, and you say, today I'm going to focus my energies to be a loving partner. I'm going to look for what he does well. I'm going to be conscious and intentional around my discussion, and I'm going to let goodness come of that. And, I mean, it's not fake. It has to be
That's your
genuine.
heart, yeah.
But I do think you have to there's a lot of noise in our lives. There's a lot of volume, which is great. It's good stuff. But we have to take time for each other, and we have to take time to be intentional by our actions, because it's super easy to get caught up in the energies of the world. And then all of a sudden you're just with each other in a depleted state.
Wow, cool. Well, thank you so much for pretty much ending the show with that. We have 20 more seconds. You guys have a beautiful relationship, and it's really nice you found that one so early that you pursued for 6 months. But thank you so much.
Pursued and ignored.
Pursued and ignored. Well, but you got
But
there.
it paid off.
Thank you so much for listening. Go to spirittalkshow.com if you'd like to get information, and have a nice night.